I have binge watched the second book last night, and I wanna share my thoughts about it. I'll start without spoilers like the first book's video. I'll be playing a Dota turbo game in the background since it fits the show's pace, and I don't wanna deal with copyright stuff. This book is very similar to the first in a lot of ways. It's just as fast and just as loaded with events and characters. There is barely enough time to let things sink in. You move from one thing onto the next like a supercut or something. I'll even go far enough to say that some dialogue feels like it's sped up or cut to meet the time requirements. I guess a positive thing we can say about it is that the show doesn't have many dull moments. Also, despite all that, they manage the world building and the high fantasy setting quite well. There are many great powers with their own agendas, and our heroes are sort of navigating through it all. The animation quality in this book is better as well. I would suggest watching both books to anyone familiar with Dota. For the others, I would suggest reading a bit about Dota's lore and heroes before jumping into it, but I suggest you watch it all the same, especially if you like fantasy settings. I'll include spoilers from now on, so it's time to jump ship if you didn't watch it yet. First of all, we got a great deal of new characters this season, and lost most of them in the end, I suppose. Oroth was really fun to watch, truly wife material. Her relationship with Bran moved very quickly, but what doesn't with this show? Lina's character was quite unexpected for me. Her ambitions and way of thinking were really interesting. I wish we got to see more of her backstory though. She kept saying that people didn't really know her, and I guess it's true because it was quite hard to connect her childhood to her actions as an adult, for me at least. Luna's redemption arc wasn't half bad either, but some of Luna and Lina's behavior and dialogue felt like they came out of nowhere to me. It felt like some stuff was missing. Still, I like how some of the main characters are not quite relatable, like Slyrak, Terrorblade, Luna, and Lina to some extent. It was something different and refreshing. Watching Slyrak take over Devian was really fun every time, giving no shits and throwing an emperor of a building to his death. You don't get to see that every day. Now that they are separated, Devian's role in the next book remains to be seen. Maybe things will go sideways in Falfell and they will have to merge again. Caden was cool as fuck every time he got on screen as usual. I hope we get to see him as a carry in Dota someday. Fimren and Selemene's parts weren't that interesting to me, and I feel like we're back to square one with them, but I think it will evolve into something exciting next season. We just might get the real gods of the moon back. Invoker wouldn't let them go to Philomena's grave if he wasn't confident in his plan. Invoker and Terrorblade didn't have enough screen time if you ask me, but they have got great lines as usual. I also like the little things they managed to squeeze in here and there, like how Terrorblade shows different invokers to match with the game's canon, or the Arc Warden statue with the Radiant and Dire Stones. In general, other than the pacing, I've got two main issues with the second book. Firstly, maybe they wanna save them for future books, but I wish we got more cameos with Dota heroes. We could have more familiar faces on the taverns. Mirana's assassin could be one of the many assassin heroes from the game's roster. Not to mention, what the hell was that gold shit? Considering where she got hit by the arrow, a regular one could easily kill her on the spot. The Pangolier didn't share the name with the one from the game either, which was a bit odd to me. His body proportions felt odd as fuck as well, but enjoyed him regardless. Secondly, I didn't like the Void Dragon twist. We've already had enough twists this season, and sudden changes like this near the end of a book makes you think that nearly anything can happen out of nowhere and devalues the investment you have in the plot. We didn't really need another villain with all the storylines already going on. This twist also cost us Lina, Marcy and Oroth. They've killed a lot of characters very quickly, what the hell? Sure, they went out guns blazing, but damn. Here's hoping they somehow come back with the Radiant or Dire Stones. At least that's what happens in my headcanon, because otherwise, I can't handle it. At least Sand King isn't dead. Those guys that Lina killed were random arachnids, guys. All in all, I would definitely suggest this book to all Dota fans. A lot of pacing issues, but not a minute wasted.